Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back to the Pretty Rich Teacher Podcast. I'm so excited to chat with you all today. Today, we are talking about creating our exit plan into corporate in less than 30 days. This episode is for everyone. If you're already a client of mine, if you're looking to be a client of mine, if you're a podcast listener, if you are a burnt out educator looking to make more money outside of the classroom, then you are going to be in a treat for today. Today's all about how to create your exit plan. So, history lesson if you all are new here. My podcast, when I first rolled it out, this is actually my 1 year. What? I'm just noticing this is my 1 year anniversary of my podcast. Happy anniversary, podcast. Happy anniversary. Literally last year, this same day. So, the day that I'm recording this has been 1 year of the podcast. And my podcast used to be called the Exit Plan Podcast. I was helping educators create their exit plans into corporate. It was also my first program promise. So y'all know last year is also when I started, when y'all started to see me on TikTok. And I started working formally with clients. And again, my program promise was helping educators create their exit plans into corporate. Okay. That's what I've been doing. And as I work with more educators, I have niched down my mentorship to specifically EdTech, customer success, or educational sales consulting. And it's advanced concepts because we're learning a whole new career. But I still have so many educators who come to my page every single day and they're like, oh my gosh, I've been thinking about leaving education, but I don't know where to start. And I am hoping that this is the first episode that you land on. So, this episode is going to talk all about how to actually create your exit plan, how to stop talking about it and be about it. And also, if you all are not aware, my exit plan course is now live and you need to be in it if you are not in it. For those who have been wanting to work with me and be like, oh, girl, I don't know about that 101. I'm not really sure. Got to make sure. Then I don't want to hear nothing. But you, inside my exit plan course, I have, when you join before December 28th, there are going to be 2 live group coaching calls. So if you enjoy seeing me on live on TikTok and you enjoy my podcast and you want to be able to talk with me, so it'll be like a Zoom room. So like it'll be me on Zoom, you on Zoom, 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 making the exit plan together. So you'll have access to my curriculum. So my curriculum, y'all, and I'm gonna get to it. We're gonna answer all the questions about the exit plan. But I have been asked to make a course a long time ago. People are like, "Oh, I don't know about that, but like, do you have a course? Do you need something small?" And I said, "No, I don't, because I want to make sure that you are actually getting the help that you need in creating your exit plan." So I think now, after doing this for 2 years, I know how to help anybody go into a new career, not just teachers, but teachers are going to have been my specialty. Like I can tell within 30 seconds, a minute, depending on the question that you ask or where you are at in your journey. And the goal of this episode is for you to learn exactly what you need to do. Okay. So in my course, I break it down into 4 steps, 4 modules. Once a week, you're doing a module. You can even do it all in 4 days, but 4 things that you need to go through to make your exit plan. So make sure you're in it. Check the show notes to get access when you join before December 28th. Not only do you get 2 live group coaching calls, but you get my eyes on your resume. So you're going to actually be able to get your resume, go through my resume course, and then you're going to build your resume. It's going to be DIY, and then I will look at it. I will give you a review and tell you what I think you need to fix. This is the only other way to work with me outside of my one-on-one mentorship. And I've already had people ask me questions. What's the difference between my course and my mentorship? And the difference is the course is going to be more DIY, do it yourself. And it's going to be very bare basics, not bare basics, but like if you are literally, I want to leave education, but I don't know where to start, that is the best place to start. Okay. I have built that as the entry level. Like, this is everything you need to know. And then if you want one-on-one mentorship and you know for sure that you want to go into EdTech customer success or EdTech sales, and you want one-on-one mentorship, you want a certification, you want interview support, you want resume done for you support, like really just think of it like an all-inclusive island. Okay. Not all-inclusive resort, I'm sorry. where you get one-on-one support. So like you're gonna have access to talk to me. So my clients in my mentorship, not only do they meet with me bi-weekly on Zoom, so like essentially they meet with me on Zoom by themselves, me and them, and we're literally me, them, their problems, solving them. Okay. And I'm so proud of my clients. I think I have to do a podcast, a client appreciation podcast soon, but they are working hard in there, getting jobs faster than ever. So that is 101. Now, I don't want you to think there's a watered down version of it. When you join the exit plan course, just go in there and you'll see the options and the incentives that I have for you. If you do think about going to the course and then think about going to mentorship, make sure you're in it and you will see exactly what offers I have available for my exit plan course members. All right. Now, let's get into it. So, how you're going to create your exit plan. So, I have my notes here. Y'all know I got to stay focused. So, let's talk about creating your exit plan. Okay. So, if you are a classroom teacher or you are a guidance counselor or you are a social worker, peer professional, higher ed professional, anybody who identifies as an educator and you are burnt out and you want to transition outside of education, but education is all you know, all of your degrees are in education. You don't know really how to operate outside of the classroom. Like you don't know where to start. Welcome. Okay. By the end of this episode, you're going to know exactly the 4 steps that you need to know to create your exit plan, thoughts to think. And then again, you absolutely have the 1, 2, 3 step plan inside of my course. Okay. And it's only $297. So get your hands on there. I feel like I will be putting a cap at the resume reviews because I don't want to be reviewing a million of them. I like to give quality. So make sure you are in there before the cap goes up before I reach the count of people joining. All right, so let's dive into it. So I would say the biggest thing, and I'm going to go over the 4 steps. I'm going to go over the 4 steps now, but essentially, the biggest hangup that educators have when creating their exit plan is just number one, realizing that there is a solution. That's actually step one. It is no longer a thing of teachers not being able to transition. It is not a thing that people are not hiring teachers. Okay? There is strategy that you need to implement. There is strategy, but there is a solution. Okay? I think that's the first thing. There is a solution. There's a solution. If you don't believe me, scroll through my podcast. Scroll. You will see one, actual steps, actual solutions, and you will also see clients who have transitioned out of the classroom who also thought that it wasn't possible for them. Sometimes people are like, oh, I don't know if it'll work for me. Scroll. There's a kindergarten teacher, I have administrators, have recently I have someone who was like a specials teacher. I have a lot of dance, music, art, PE, guidance counselor, principal, assistant principal, everybody's up in there getting jobs. Okay. So I think the very first thing is for you to really go inside of your brain and believe that there is a solution. There is a solution. And the very first module in my course, I am giving you the solution. Like most of the time, your brain just doesn't believe it's possible. You don't see the steps. So it's your brain does not, and y'all are going to hear me reference the brain a lot, but the brain is meant to protect you, but not in the way that you think. Your brain does not like anything that's hard, seemingly challenging. Your brain likes what's easy. And whenever you just don't know that there's a solution to leaving, you just keep staying and I call it in the most loving way possible, the victim story of there's no one hiring, there's nothing else to do. I put in my applications and no one's calling me back. And I'm not making fun of anybody. If this is the first episode you all have landed on, welcome. I am animated. I am an actress. I love acting, and I love being animated. Okay. But that is what I see a lot of. Just like there's nothing going on a campaign that there is no solution. There is a solution. There is a solution. There is a solution. And the very first module, I walk you through the exact solution. The beliefs you need to think, the thoughts you need to think, what you can control, what you can't control. Healing your burnout is also one of them. A lot of people don't want to hear me on it. A lot of people like, listen, I don't have time. I need a job tomorrow. I don't want to heal my burnout. I don't burn my I'm not burnt out. I'm not burnt out. Just give me the resume, give me the interview prep, all that stuff. Okay. I'm so excited that I did not start with a course. I'm so happy that I started off working with actual human beings. Because even when I created my first iteration of the course, it's times 10. It gets times 10 better every single time I work with more people. I would say and I've worked with more than 100, y'all. I just stop after 100. I'm not going to count after 100. When I get to like 300, 500, a bigger number of like 500 people, which I know I will in my lifetime, especially with my course, I plan to work with a lot more people with this course, but hundreds. And I have worked with educators so well, I know them. And I'm so glad that I did not release my course first because I wanted to be able to troubleshoot things that I thought that teachers uh, had issues with, or things that I thought that they would be able to figure out on their own. They have not figured out. So this course is every single thing that every single thing that you're going to have an issue with. But the biggest thing that I see, like with educators, we want um to know for sure. We want checklists. We want all the right things. And then when it comes to it, y'all are like, okay, I know what I need to do. But then you aren't doing it. But a lot of it is because you don't believe there's actually a solution. You low key either don't believe it's going to work for you, you don't believe it's going to work at all. You have seen two or three of your friends try to transition, didn't work, or transitioned and they ended up getting laid off, etc. And if you didn't listen to my episode before this about the layoffs, make sure you listen to that. But I think the biggest thing is that you find reasons to believe that there is not a solution. Okay, there is a solution, and you have to believe it. Like that is the tip. If you don't believe that there is a solution, you will continue to believe something. You're going to believe something. And you do what you believe, not what you know. I've seen so many educators say, okay, I know. Because I've had clients, like when I first started, okay? And it still happens to this day. They have everything, okay? Resume polished for their job, okay? Tell them they're going to have to apply to a lot of jobs. Tell them they have to prepare for their interview. I tell them that you're not going to hear yes over and over. If you're going to hear no's, and people hear it and they say, okay, I know. And then they still stop. Okay. Because they don't truly believe it. They don't believe in themselves. They don't believe that they are qualified. They don't believe they are capable of doing the job. They don't believe that there is a way to troubleshoot their issues. So let's say that they do have their resume polished for their interview and they get an interview. And then they interview, they practice for the interview, and then they don't get the job. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm not being hired. And you just believe that you're not ever going to get hired. You have to believe that there is a solution. That's the very first step of your exit plan. You have to believe there is a solution. Believe there is a solution. And if you cannot believe it full out that you're going to get hired right now, what can you believe? Can you believe that you are capable of figuring out what your next step is? Because oftentimes with my high achievers, I work with a lot. I work with high achieving women. That's my mentorship, high achieving women. So I know if you are not a woman and you've been wanting to work with me, the course is the only way besides my podcast. Make sure you are in my course. But the high achievers are the high achievers are letting their high achieverness stop them from being successful because they are expecting things to happen right the first time. And they just don't want to believe there's a solution. Okay. I feel like you know what it is, but at the core of it, you just have to believe it. And I know I keep saying that over and over, but I really want you, if you're someone who is wanting to leave the classroom, I want you to like literally put your hand over your heart and ask yourself, do you actually believe that it's possible for you, for me, to say for me, to make this transition out of education and into a different career? And most of y'all know the answers. Most of y'all, not most of y'all, I won't say most, but some of y'all don't believe it. And I want you, if that's the biggest thing, I want you to believe there's a solution. Okay. I want you to normalize the resistance as well. It's okay if you don't believe it. It's okay if you don't believe there's a solution. Okay. We can start there. And if that is your thing, if you just don't believe it'll happen for you, maybe you're like, okay, I haven't really seen a lot of people in my circle transition out of the classroom. Y'all, me neither. Me neither. Me neither. Okay. I all of my friends, like, when you're a teacher, most of your friends are teachers or admin. I've been in education. Well, I would have still been in education until I started in 2014. So I feel like I would have been on my 11th year, going to my 12th year. Woo! That sounds crazy. And I'm not that. I feel like that meme where it's like, where someone's like, "Do you have kids?" And they're like 4. They're like, "Woo! Damn!" I'm not making fun of anybody that has kids, or I'm not making fun of anybody who's been in education for 10 plus years. It's just not crazy, but like, I think I that would have been me had I not been able to believe that there was a solution for me. If I had only used the people around me to believe that like, if I only looked around who I was around, there was probably maybe you always have that one person that left and we don't really know what job they did, and it just seemed like they were a special snowflake. But what if every single teacher can transition into a new career? Okay. I also want y'all to know there are other careers where people transition into other ones as well. I know teaching just seems like so niche because you're teaching students, you're either elementary, middle, high school, um, or higher ed, etc. So you just like don't even can't fathom doing a different job. Like, just start to believe it. Whatever you can do to start believing it, that is actually your first step. Okay. And I'm gonna say that the last time I'm gonna say it, because I know I'm talking in circles about it, but it's that important. It's that simple. Believe there's a solution. How can I believe that I am capable of figuring out the solution to this transition journey? Okay. And you have this podcast, so you're welcome. That's one of them. Okay. And my course, break it down too. Okay. But if you like absolutely positively just want the free resources, listen to this podcast. Okay. You scroll all of that for all my lessons. I have one client who she's like, I'm gonna showcase my dedication. I'm gonna listen to every single podcast. And she did that before she booked her call with me. And now she's working with me. And we are literally cleaning it up and getting ready to interview. Okay. In less than 30 to 60 days. Okay. I have them cleaning out house, figuring out, making sure everything is good with their current position. And then we are preparing for their new career. She knows who she is. So, yeah. In 2026, I want double the amount of interviews that my clients had, double the amount of interviews, the amount of job offers, all that. Okay. So, the second thing, so in the believing there's a solution, I'll just put one little tid point of burnout. Burnout needs to be healed. That is a part of the solution. And I won't spend too much time on that on burnout. I may do a whole episode on it, but like, burnout is important. And if you are not on my email list, you should be. That's where I'm dropping a lot. I'm also, side note, at the time of this podcast being dropped, if you're on my list, oh, I feel like it would have already happened. So never mind. But just make sure you're on my email list so you won't miss out on other things like this. And I'm not gatekeeping it. It's just like, if I by the time I tell you, it would have passed. So just make sure you're on my list for future events. But if you're on my email list, I do have a free burnout healing training. You can go listen to that today. You're welcome. All right. Number 2 on building your exit plan. Now, I'm going to go through the last 3 and then I'm going to talk in depthly about each of them. So, step 2, after you believe there's a solution, step 2 is building your corporate knowledge. Okay. Answer your brain on all the questions you have about corporate, all the questions. I highly recommend going to the episode right before this one to learn about the truth about layoffs, transitions, etc. Go back and listen to that. That'll give you a general gist of it. But essentially, we need to build our corporate knowledge. We need to enter our brains. We commonly have questions. What about layoffs? Corporate seems like a big bad wolf. Like, y'all are clumping corporate and making it a big bad wolf when corporate is just businesses. All you're doing is going to go work for a business. That's the difference. Okay. They are in the business of making money versus education. They're in the business of bringing student proficiency up. Okay. Test scores is how they are measured for success. So you need to build your corporate knowledge, like what it really means to work in corporate. Okay. I feel like I didn't really get my corporate knowledge until I got there. And I would have paid, okay? I would have paid money to learn about corporate from being a teacher lens, like what exactly my retirement, my healthcare. For me, I just believed so firmly that there was a solution that I was going to transition out that I said, you know what? I will figure that out. I am a implementer. So, side note, if you are still in that belief place of not believing that it's possible for you to have a solution, or you have a lot of like belief or confidence within yourself, like confidence challenges, I highly recommend you start to learn more about yourself. I took the human design, I take all personality tests, but a part of my human design, I'm a projector. But also one of my strategies is like I forgot what it's called, but essentially explained it that I am an implementer. Like I am, you don't know how like when you're cooking spaghetti and you throw spaghetti in the water to see if it's ready? That's basically what I do for my life. I just be throwing spaghetti. Let's see what sticks. Oh, that's stuck. Excellent. Then it's thick. Gotta cook it a little bit longer. Okay. All right. I tried it, but I'm an implementer. So for me, I am typically but also I'm an implementer because I also am an overthinker. For me, I'm either in my head or I'm just doing a thing. Okay. In my head, doing a thing. So that's why it may seem like, uh, well, how can I describe this? Like when I do videos or my podcast, I have been thinking about it for a long time. Like I have my notes, but like I have what I want to say in my head for a long time and then I just implement it. I don't really have a script. I have an outline that I make sure I follow the main points, but I don't have a script. That's just my strategy. That's what I learned. That's how I learn the best. So I highly recommend you go learn about yourself and how you make decisions and how you think because it will be helpful in this journey. Finders is a good one. In my private client podcast with my clients, I give them like all the different things, the pattern app, Finder, finding out your astrology if you're into astrology. If you're not into astrology, okay. But if you're into astrology, you want to find out you have more than just your sun sign. But all I have to say, you want to learn more about yourself. Okay. So that way you can kind of apply what's happening in this journey. But anyway, building your corporate knowledge. I did not know about corporate till I got in there. I didn't know what to do with my retirement. I did not know what to do with my healthcare. And in my second module in my exit plan course, I it's literally called Corporate 101 for transitioning teachers. Everything. It goes over every single thing, every single thought. Will I have to take a pay cut? Well, what about the budget cuts? What about my retirement? Healthcare? Can I leave in the middle of the year? Like, all those things are addressed in that module, but you need to build your corporate knowledge. And for me, when I was first transitioning out, my corporate knowledge was from my friends who were in corporate. So all my friends were not in education. I had friends who were in corporate. One of my best friends was a recruiter. So it was the best person. If y'all haven't listened to that episode, I don't know. If you scroll all the way down, it's how to negotiate your salary as a transitioning educator. It's actually, I interviewed her and we had a conversation about salary negotiation. But she was my first corporate knowledge mentor. Like I literally was like, listen, I need to see your resume. I need to see what it is. And then for me, once I saw the differences, I threw spaghetti on the wall and I said, okay, let's do this resume. Okay. I did that and then I got my interview. But again, for me, I had been throwing spaghetti on the wall. I had been interviewing already since my first year teaching. Like my first year teaching, I was interviewing for higher positions. I had always known I was moving into administration. Okay. So I was throwing myself out. I was like, I don't care if I have 1 year of experience in this classroom. Okay. I started, what's it called? Substitute teaching when I was 19, like right when I got my associates. So I was like, oh, I have a wealth of experience. Like I think it's another thing is I just firmly believe in myself and it's taken time over the years. I didn't come out of the womb believing in myself. I had to like take time to learn about myself. I always tell people if y'all did not know, like I am a introvert with an extroverted skill set. From kindergarten all the way till 8th grade, I would say K through 8, I didn't talk at all at school. All I did was observe. I didn't talk at all, but when I got home, I yapped. High school, I broke out of my shell a little bit, but it wasn't until college when I was like, "Oh, wow." Like I was an orientation team leader, and in the orientation team, this is a side story. I promise I'm gonna bring it back. Essentially, I just learned about myself. I was like, okay, I don't need to be passive aggressive. I can just be assertive. Oh, this is why I am the way that I am. I think it was like my color personality. I had like learned so many things about myself. And then I also had this idea of, okay, well, because for the orientation team, they had these jerseys. And whenever they had these jerseys on, they would do these dances. And everyone knew that the orientation team leaders had these big personalities. And all it took for me was to say, wow, I don't need this jersey to be myself. And then Jasmine was born. So I say all that to say, build your knowledge, build your corporate knowledge, but also I would say build knowledge about yourself. Okay. Learn about yourself. Okay. Outside of being a teacher, I think the biggest things that we are locked into our teacher identity, we have to break our teacher identity. Who am I? And I want you to answer that question out loud. Who are you outside of being a classroom teacher? Who are you? Who are you? Okay. Find out, learn more about yourself, and use it to boost your confidence. Like, okay, this is why I act the way that I do. Okay, this is what like me. I just found out that I've been invalidating my feelings in therapy. So I have my little feelings wheel now. I don't know if that was in my other episodes before, but I was in therapy and my therapist would ask me how I feel about something, and I would go straight to thoughts. And she's like, "Ma'am, that's not a feeling," and I was like, "I don't know. This I want to feel like this. I've been telling myself how to feel versus how I actually feel." So we need knowledge. Sometimes all we need is the knowledge. And I feel like the biggest thing is when you build your knowledge about corporate. So number one, believing that there is a solution. And then two, building your corporate knowledge. Anything you have a question for, get the answer. So that way you can move on to step three, which will be your career knowledge. Okay. So once you understand and believe that there is a solution, there are people who are out here not in the classroom. Okay. I What I always say, y'all, I give y'all tough love in the most loving way. Actually, another side story related. One of my clients is actually one of my old coworkers, and she works with me. And we've been working together, and I've been giving her some tough love lately. Because for me, as a coach, my job is to not believe the story that you tell yourself. Because I have a lot of clients that will say, "Oh, I'm really nervous. I just don't know why I'm nervous." No, no, no. Find out why you're nervous. What's actually making you nervous? What's actually making you nervous? Let's go all the way there. Let's go all the way there. Okay. Tough coaching is good sometimes. And I'm not being mean when I say this, but like I do believe firmly that staying in the classroom is a choice at this point with all this information out here. If I had my podcast, I would have been up out of there, out of here. Okay. Staying in the classroom is a choice. And I mean that in the most loving way possible. Okay. I actually have another podcast episode of called How to Be Classroom Optional. Scroll to find that one. But I do firmly believe that staying in the classroom is a choice. Fight me, fight me, fight me. I don't fight though, because nails. But it's a choice. You can go into a new career. People do it all the time. If there are thoughts or questions that you have about it, it can be solved. And one, believing that there is a solution to all of your problems. And two, building your corporate knowledge to answer all the questions you have in your brain. And then we get to career knowledge. Because if you want to get out of the classroom, you want to go into another career, we want to prepare for that career. We want to prepare for it, meaning we need to learn about it more than just applying for it. And I think the biggest thing that I see with teachers when it comes to interviewing in corporate is when it comes to teaching, you don't ever have to read a job description. You know it's teaching. More than likely, you've had an internship or you have some type of something that proves your ability to teach. And then you interview, and it's more of a formality. The interview is a formality. Fight me. Interviews are formalities in teaching. There are some districts and schools that have a little bit more rigorous, especially if you get paid more or if it's a charter school. But I know for a fact, fight me, but please don't. I don't like to fight. I don't. Okay. I don't fight. But I'm just saying to get a teaching job is not challenging. And I'm not saying it to water down. It is a hard profession. Okay. That I will never say is easy. That you can come fight me on. Not fight me, but like that I can see if someone um has a little something to say, a little dip on their chip about me if I say teaching is easy. Teaching is not easy. I think that's the most challenging job in the world. That's why I compare it to being a veteran in the military. I do. Fight me on that. Okay. Teaching is a service that because everyone's not doing it. That's why every time someone says, when you tell someone you're a teacher, they're like, "Oh, bless your heart." Thank you for what you do. Thank you for your service. Okay. I feel like we need teacher benefits all year round, not just in May. But all that to say, teaching interviews have your career journey to becoming a teacher was not really is not the same thing as corporate. It's a formality. You say you want to teach, you just raise your hand and teach. I think someone on my live had asked, like, hey, I'm going to a job fair, any tips? I just said go in there and say that you want to teach. Go in there and say you want to teach. If you really want to add some razzle dazzle, say that you want to teach reading or math, and they will eat you up. Okay. Say you want to teach middle school reading. Say you want to teach intensive reading. Say you want to teach special ed. Like all the areas where they have a hard time finding teachers, you will get hired easily. And I think that teachers take that same mindset into corporate. And I have seen people, what I call on the triangle. And I remember that episode 45. If you have not watched that, go watch that. So I would say so far, if this is your first episode, listen to this one, the one before this one, episode 45. And then anything, I do have a podcast listening guide on my email list so that you can know what you need to listen to. But yeah, it's not the same thing. People are blaming, I hear it all the time. People are not hiring teachers. They need to give me a chance. They're not replying back to me. They replied back to me a month later, a week later, like, oh, why is it so hard? This is so much work. Instead of really observing your own thoughts and your own actions. And the episode, I'm actually going to be recording 2 episodes today, but you'll get this one the next week, the last episode of the year, which is going to be so, so good. It's going to be 5 ways to guarantee your success as a transitioning teacher. Make sure you listen to that one when it's available next Friday. But I think that to wrap it up, we can, like, the way that we got into teaching is not the same way we're going to get into corporate. The sooner you absorb that, feel that, hear that, believe that, the easier it will get. We're not just applying for jobs. We're not just applying for jobs. And I believe I do have a podcast on that as well, applying for jobs versus making a career change. I believe that's episode 20 or 21. But we're not just applying for jobs here. So if your goal, if your thoughts have only been who's hiring, what do I need to put on my resume, which companies are hiring, those are valid questions. But if you've been listening to my podcast for a while, you know that's not where we start with. It's going to start with which career are you transitioning to? Now, in my exit plan course, I go over 5 different career paths. I also go over how to get a part-time job in corporate, how to get a part-time job, period. So if you want to have like the niche specifics, that's what's also covered in my course. But the biggest things that we have to prepare for a career change. If you are wanting to, especially if you want to make the amount of money that you want to make, if you want to feel safe in a new career, we have to approach it the same way you did teaching. I want you to really think about what was the preparation work done for you to become a teacher. I can tell you what I did. I went to college. I have a 4-year degree in elementary education. My teaching certification. I'm certified in elementary education, TESOL. What was the other one? ESE, I think. I don't remember. Reading, elementary. I don't remember. Maybe it was just those 2. And then I got my master's in educational leadership, and I got my FELI certification, which is my admin certification. I'm in Florida. And then I got my doctorate. But my doctorate, I got that after I finished it after I left. So I had gotten my bachelor's and my master's, but before I got my first teaching job, I just had my bachelor's degree. I had an internship, and I had substitute taught, but that's all I did. And I got hired. Then I stayed in that position teaching for 4 years. I had been taking different PDs, like the summer PDs. They would always have like little points that you can get to retain your license, like all that PD, like all that career training to become better as a teacher. I always ask people, like, how long did it take them to become a good teacher? And people say they're still perfecting it. So it's like, that's one thing to really absorb. Like, you did a lot of work to become a teacher, even if, because there's someone who always wants to challenge me. Oh, well, I didn't go to school to be a teacher. I didn't do that. I didn't have to do any of that. I just got thrown in there. Okay. And even so, this is actually better for you. Okay. The same thing's not going to happen in corporate. You are not just going to move in and just get there. Like, I think what teachers do is like, you just want to get the interview. You think the interview is a formality. You take, okay, I got an interview. Somebody wants me, when it's just a part of the process of hiring. Okay. People get interviews, but there are going to be multiple rounds of interviews. And this is actually another thing. If interviewing is hard for you, if you're getting interviews, but you're not going to the next round, I guarantee you don't know much about that career. Whenever you're interviewing, and I have whole podcast episodes about that, so I won't dive too deep, but the biggest takeaway is you need to prepare for this like a career change. The same effort and intention you put in to becoming a teacher or whatever role you're in, the same thing has to be true about your new job. A lot of people ask people, where do I get the training? Google it. Find training. There's so much training. Okay. I tell you also how to find the training in the course. And I'm also going to tell you, whatever career it is, find the training. Like it doesn't have to be the best training, just get the training. Okay. When I was in my first position as an educational sales consultant, I knew enough about the job to explain how I did it. And that worked in 2022. In 2025, 2026, and beyond, even with me hiring for my assistant, I was like, oh no, I need to know for sure that you can do this job. I don't want to see potential. I think that's what other educators are thinking, that they think that the corporate interviews are going to hire you for your potential. No, these are businesses. They want to hire you and knowing that you can do the job. And the thing is, lifelong learners, where are my lifelong learners at? Teachers, y'all love to say I'm a lifelong learner. And then when I say you got to learn something, oh, I don't want to do that. I just want to get an interview. I just want another job. Like expecting someone to come down and save you. I have been sent, and I'm telling you to go learn your new job. Stop just reading a job description. Stop just like, I've had people who have asked me, and it's okay to ask these questions. They're great questions. That's why I love going live on Tuesdays, because I really get to learn what y'all are asking, so that way I can make sure I'm explaining it to you all. My goal is to educate. Okay, I want anybody who listens to my podcast, and it's funny. It's funny. So like, especially ever since I did the LinkedIn podcast, and then my clients who work with me and they know all of the insights as to how to get hired fast. They'll be like, oh, I saw that girl who was posting, and it's different girls. So if you are one of those girls, it's okay. It's 100 of y'all, and it's okay. There's no shame. But they're like, oh, I saw that girl posting on LinkedIn saying that people aren't hiring teachers. She's not supposed to be doing it's really funny. They're like, yeah, she's not supposed to be doing that. That doesn't look good. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, I love that these educators are really like learning the game. Because for a while though, I admit I had been avoiding LinkedIn for a while, and I'm glad I'm there because it's so good for me to know so I can help. But I remember going to my business coach and I was like, I feel so, in a most loving way, embarrassed. Well, I didn't even feel a word. She helped me find the word embarrassed, because I was just like, these teachers are all here on LinkedIn posting like this. I'm just like, I don't like it. Like, I felt like, why do they keep doing that? And she's like, it seems like you're embarrassed for them. I was like, you know what? I am. Because I'm like, why are we bringing the teacher's lounge to the internet? So I know a part of the job description as a teacher is to complain about our job and to complain about everything. But to go into corporate, to work for a business, it doesn't look good. And I have a whole podcast on that as well. And I know y'all are thinking, girl, you got a podcast on everything. Can you just talk about what you're talking about? No, I'm going to refer to the podcast, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to talk about. Okay. My podcast. I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. But yeah, we need to learn a new career. Someone asked, like, how do I know if I know it? How do you know if you're a great teacher? It's the same answer, like, same thing. But if you're asking, well, how do I know if I know the job? That's a typically a sign that you aren't equipped with that knowledge. Okay. So I do go over 5 different career paths in my exit plan course. And right now on my link in my bio on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, there is a free quiz. So if you know for sure you want to go into ed tech, I actually have a free intro training to customer success and sales. So you're welcome. But what you'll see in my exit plan course is I talk about there are more careers than just ed tech. There are more careers. So I actually talk about 5 of the different careers. Inside of my exit plan course, I go over learning and development, executive assistant, operations, customer support, curriculum design, all that is covered in there. But you have to approach this like a career change. I want you to ask yourself, if you've been wanting to create your exit plan, have I been just applying for jobs, or have I been making this an intentional career change? And what would need to change for me to make this a career change and not just applying for a job? Because I have found that the people who approach this like applying for a job end up getting applying for a job problems. Okay. I've seen people talk about their friends who got hired at companies and then they got laid off and they're like, yeah, I'm back in the classroom. Like they put all their safety in a company. And with me being a researcher of careers and me being a full time career coach now, and me saying, no, y'all are not the only people on LinkedIn complaining. And I know it's not all of y'all, but we have like no, I'm trying to find where in the literature does it state that a company has to hire you forever. People are shocked. And this is, again, I want y'all to take this coaching in a good way. I am not, if you feel this way or if anything feels, I am not being mean. I'm just giving you all what I wish I knew. I am a direct coach. Most of the clients that work with me, they like me because I am direct to the point. I am not going to sugarcoat or fluff. That doesn't mean I'm not going to be, like, I am going to always be nice and intentional with my delivery. So much so I have one client where I was trying to give her some coaching and I was saying it in a nice way. She's like, girl, you sound like you were trying to say that so nice. Can you just tell me exactly what you want me to say? What you would need to tell me? And I said, okay, great. Blah, 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 blah. She said, okay, thank you so much. I can take that coaching. I can take it. And, some people are not built for the tough feedback. So I don't do it to everybody. So that's why I am giving this solicitation. We, as like finding a job, no company is guaranteed to work with us forever. They're not. They're businesses. Like, now, when business, like people take being laid off personally, and I get it because it does affect their livelihood. I understand that. I'm not dismissing it. I'm not watering it down. It is a traumatic experience. If you have been working, it's kind of like, it's like a grief. It's like a death. It really is because it's unexpected. And it's like, that is their livelihood. So the idea of like getting fired or getting laid off after you've been working for a company and people are expecting loyalty at companies, but companies are run like they're businesses. So they are going to do what's best for the business. That is literally how it works. That is literally how it works. They're going to do what's best for the business. So if it includes, certain employees not being essential, they will cut them. Like that's the business. Okay. Now, in the same token, when you equip yourself with the ability to land interviews and land job offers, you're going to have your moment. Like if that does happen to you, but it does not happen as often. I know I think on LinkedIn, people are just like promoting lots of different things of layoffs and layoffs. But like again, if you're in my course, I drop the real. So I'll give you all what really is going on. But the general gist is you can always get another job. There are jobs posted every single day. There's a solution. You just have to believe it, heal your burnout and believe it. Build your corporate knowledge, build your corporate understanding. Like just think about a career change, but also learning the landscape. So you can know the landscape of education. Like the landscape and the world of education is different from the actual day-to-day responsibilities of being a teacher. Like in the education industry, we know, so corporate is an industry and there are different industries in corporate. Okay. So career knowledge is what we need to do. Like you got to approach it. Find a certification, just believe there's a solution and find the solution. Okay. Go Google research. Okay. Which things. And I'm going to also go over, I'm so excited. That's why I'm recording this episode right after. Like next week, make sure you come back and listen to that because I'm going to go over certainty. A lot of teachers want certainty that things are going, I want to know for sure before I invest. I want to know for sure, for sure, for sure. I'm going to go over that a lot in my next podcast episode. Okay. But I want you to do your best guess. I want you to do your best guess or get your butt in my exit plan course, and I will give you all of the step by step, and you'll be able to ask me questions live in there. But get the career knowledge. Okay. Last thing, do the work. Do the work required. And I mean that in the most loving way possible. it is going to be some work. It is going to be some work. But I always challenge you all, you are doing more work as a classroom teacher. It is more work to be a classroom teacher than it is to learn the steps required on getting a job outside of the classroom and thriving outside of the classroom. Ask me how I know. Not only with myself, but with people that I work with and people who are now in their new jobs, people who are living their life. And I always ask them the difference, like with teaching in your current job, even with the work stresses in their new job, like on their worst day, they can close their laptop and go to Chick-fil-A. And if you go to Chick-fil-A, whatever you want to do. Okay. On my worst day, I'm inside of my house in my pajamas. On my worst day, I'm making double the amount of money I was making as a school administrator. On my worst day, I'm still living the best day that I would not have had as a teacher. So I say all that to say it is going to be work, but think about why you're doing this. I know in education, we always lead with the why. Okay. Especially when I was an administrator, I would always be told, okay, we have to lead with the why. We can't just have teachers do things. We need to tell them the why. Ask yourself, why do you want to leave the classroom? Why? Is it money? Is it time freedom? Do you want to be able to go to your kids' events, the muffins with moms, donuts with dads? Do you want to go on their field trips? If you don't have kids, do you want to travel more? Right? Are you tired of living paycheck to paycheck and you want to be able to have money to save, to invest, to splurge? Do you want to be able to go after your dreams and actually turn them into goals? Like what is being a classroom teacher like? What's holding you back from doing what you want to do? Why are you doing this? And use that as your motivation to do the work, the desire to do the work required. That's actually the last module in my Excellent course is do the work, all the work required to get your job. Okay. The work required. What work is required? The work required. Believing there's a solution. That's some work. And all my one-on-one clients, they are required to have a therapist or they're doing thought work with me weekly. Because the thing is, it's not a question. It is for certain. If your mindset, if you do not have a healthy mindset or your burnout is not healed or you are not intentionally observing your own thoughts and your own actions, the story that you believe is true. So if you say, oh, I did everything and it's not working. Yep, you did everything and it's not working. Correct. Because if I try to offer a solution, if your mindset is, oh, I tried that didn't work. Tried that didn't work. I saw on LinkedIn, not LinkedIn, it was on TikTok. Someone comment. I tried tweaking my resume, didn't work. Tried applying for jobs, didn't work. Got a course, didn't work. Worked with a coach, didn't work. And I was like, it sounds like you just are interested in things not working. How's that working for you? How's that working? How's that working for you? Like, it's like some people are committed to proving people wrong. And I always say, do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? Do you want to be right about things not working or do you want to be rich? And it's all by doing the work. I don't know how people feel about Kim K. I like Kim K, but I remember when she had did that video where she's like, you guys just gotta get your A up and work. And at first I was like, Kim, but you don't understand our struggle. But then I was like, you know what? Kim K was right. I'm so sorry, babes. Kim K was right. We do gotta actually work. And I think I'm gonna start like really. So if y'all also my YouTube, so if you're watching this video, you know I have my YouTube channel with my podcast, but vlogs are coming in 2026. And I believe it will be beneficial for you all to see the behind the scenes of me living my pretty rich teacher life. Like, yes, I have a pretty rich life. Pretty rich. Okay. I still want to make more money. I make good money. I make good money. I'm not even going to lie. I make good money. And I love it. I love making money. I do it. But I also love working. So if you want to know, I am a full-time entrepreneur. Okay, full-time. So this is the main like living. I always say if I don't cook, I don't eat. It is I gotta work. And it's very similar to educators wanting to go into corporate. They know they want to do it, but they don't Like they want the benefits, but they don't want to do the work required. And it's like you have to be willing to do what others won't do to get what others won't get. So a part of this process is work. For me, I thought, oh, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I can work anytime I want to. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I actually got to work. That did shock me for a couple months. I was like, oh my gosh, rocking back and forth, rocking back and forth. Okay. It was kind of like because I had, if y'all, history lesson also. So I was in a long term relationship. I was married for years. And then I moved out, started all the way over, was triple times three, but I survived. I'm thriving actually. Okay. Was I rocking back and forth for a while? Yes, I was. And then I said, you know what? We're gonna do the work required. Like I'm gonna do it. So it was hard, y'all. I'm not gonna sugarcoat for you. It was hard. It was very, very hard. But I also stopped believing the story that it was hard also. And it was a lot of work. So therapy, coaching myself on my mindset, like really getting the support that I needed to go through that journey. But I did the work. And then even with me, I feel honestly happy with my life. Like I feel happy that I'm in the good part of my life. Like I am so happy with my life. And it took work to get here. Okay. Like even last year when I was recording this podcast, my life is completely different. I am not the same person. I am not. I've done so much work. Okay. And all that to say, like, it's not, I think sometimes y'all see the tip of the iceberg. You see, okay, I'm living this pretty rich teacher life, I'm doing all this stuff. But y'all, I work. Like y'all will see on my vlogs, I work on Saturdays. Like Saturday is a work day for me. So with me making my own schedule, I work on Saturdays. I really have one day off truly. And it's only because I have transitioned into being an entrepreneur. Okay. So when it comes to working in corporate, I feel like that life, and that's what everyone is wanting to get into. I think that's the first step because I have some clients who are saying, okay, I got my corporate job. You're going to have to learn, teach me how to start a business. I'm like, y'all, one thing at a time, one thing at a time. But when I was in my corporate job, like full time, that was it. I had literally free time. That's how I finished my doctorate. So I had the time to start a business, all that stuff. I had the time. I did the work and I got free time. Okay. And now that I got my free time, I'm literally like, where's my Lisa Frank journal? Let me show y'all. I have my Lisa Frank journal, my Lisa Frank journal, okay, my private journal when I was 9 years old. And I am checking off items that my 9-year-old self told me to do. Okay. So not only, and one, I didn't plan on starting a business. So that's that. I always like money. That's one thing I did say on here. I think I said, where's the money part? When I grow up, I want to be a teacher so I can grade and get gifts. And where's the part that I said, if I could collect anything in the world, if y'all are on here, I said money. So I've always liked money. So I think I've always known I wanted to, I think that's why I got my doctorate and everything. I've always wanted to make money. I was like, okay, where is the highest paying job? Okay, being a principal. Okay. My dissertation. So I have a whole doctorate, Dr. Jasmine. Okay, put some respect on my name. But that was a lot of work. Like I just sold myself on the work required. Like when I was doing my dissertation, when I do any hard work, I'm not sitting here saying, "Oh, this is so hard. Oh, I have to do this." Oh. Sometimes, but then I got tired of that because who wants to do hard work? Your brain doesn't want to do hard work. I just desire to do the work required to get what I wanted. It is not going to fall out of the sky. It is not going to happen just because you want it to. You have to want it, and then you got to do the work required. Okay. But it's so worth it. I don't say any of this so I'm thinking about what thoughts you're thinking now. You're thinking, oh my gosh, this is so much. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I want to make my transition. I think I'll stay here. I know what to expect here. This feels safe. I know your brain wants to go there. I know your brain may be like, okay, this is maybe information overload. Okay. I didn't expect to get all this information in this podcast. I just wanted a 1, 2, 3 checklist for me to implement. Okay. What you get inside of the exit plan course. But no, it's these 4 things. Okay. That's when I sat here and said, okay, how can I convey this exit plan without just giving the steps, like the actual thing they need to hear? It's these 4 things. Believe that there is a solution. Build your corporate knowledge. Answer your brain on all the thoughts and questions you have about corporate. Then learn your new career just like you learned teaching. You don't have to get another degree, but you can get a certification or training enough for you to consider yourself an expert. Okay? Define what expert is and become an expert of your new career. Okay? Learning about the job. Corporate knowledge is also learning about the interviewing process, and then you do the work required. You're going to have to practice for your interviews. I'm so sorry, babes. I've had clients, and it's literally happened. And I'm so excited for the new wave of these interviews that I have coming for y'all, my client podcast. I'm so excited for them. Okay. There were so many. I think there was 1 month where I was like, dang, I need a solo podcast because I have all these people getting jobs. And I'm like, I need y'all to get on the podcast, but like, dang, I need a solo podcast. No, it's gonna be filled with teachers and their journeys. I also plan to interview my exit plan people too in the course. So make sure you are in there. Know that you are eligible to come onto the podcast with your success story. Okay. But I have one client and she has been all of them are doing the work. And they're like, please don't talk about me. But everybody gets talked about in the best way. But her first interview turned into the job offer. And we were reading like literally within, I think it was within, let me look at the calendar. I want to say less than 2 weeks from her applying. Like, but it was like people look at the iceberg. They're thinking, oh, she got that job in 2 weeks. No. Before that, I would say they start working with me. I want to say it's always a good 30 to 60 days to give yourself time to acclimate to what's going on, you know, getting all my ducks out in a row, clearing it out, exit plan, thoughts about the exit, building my corporate knowledge, building my career knowledge. I would say 30 to 60 days. And then I always say, for getting a job offer, it depends on your interviewing skills. Because she was ready. She was ready. There are people who talk about, oh, yeah, I didn't get a chance to practice for my interview. Nah, I didn't have time. No, I didn't have time to finish that portfolio. Didn't have time. She said, what do I do? Do it, do it, do it, do it. Oh, ooh, this is a lot of work. This is actually a lot of work. But she did it. And it turned to her job offer in less than 2. I was like, wow, look at you, ma'am. Look at you. And the thing is, it wasn't magical. I wasn't like, oh, how did she do that? I know how she did it. She did the work. She did the work. How can you get yourself excited about the work? That's how I get myself excited. Okay? That exit plan course, I have been working on that, I want to say, since I took my calendar down. I was trying to look for it, but I would say months. And there were videos that I had recorded. Like I had spent like hours. I've spent 24 hours plus on just recording videos. And not that many videos. If I would make a video and I'm like, I don't like it that much. I want to make sure I get to the point faster. I want to do this. I want to make sure, like, I wanted to make sure that course was not just a course that was just in their inbox and it was just invaluable information. So if you think, oh, it's just a watered down version, no, it is an exit plan. Okay. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I want this video to be great. So yeah, even though it was like 5 videos in particular, because they were very important ones. I wanted to make sure that I wanted to make sure when I watched it that I got what I wanted to give in the video. But I recorded those videos. It was 5 hours. I could have said, oh no, they don't get it. I'm like, no, I want to record these videos over. I want to give my best work. Okay? I want to give my best work. I really genuinely want to help people leave the classroom. I want it to be simple. I don't want to put anything in there that they don't need. I did the work. I sold myself on the work required. And with my hard work, y'all, I live my life. Okay. After I finished recording all my course videos, I had my celebration planned. I said, okay, when you finish recording and you get this thing, boom, get yourself a Disney pass. I got my Disney pass. And I went to Disney the very next day. I had the best time. The best time. I loved it. I love it. And it's gonna be in my vlog when I bought my pass. I got the highest pass. I said, give me the highest pass with no blackout dates. Give me that. Okay. And I was like, wow, I can do this. As a teacher, I would have wished to have some extra money to get a Disney pass. But no, I do the work required. Okay. I do the work required. So like, are you doing the work? And it's okay if it feels heavy, but like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing it? How do you convince your students to do the work? Your students never want to do the work. A lot of y'all act like your students in the classroom. You just wish your kids would listen to you, sit down. If they just listen the first time, they would get it. And you go over all these strategies and they still don't do it. Y'all are acting like your students. Okay? Teachers are the worst students. But y'all are also very brilliant. And I want y'all to believe that. So For any takeaways, let me make sure I'm at time. Okay. Yeah, I definitely went off script, but I went over my four main things, so that's all that matters. Okay. I'm going to offer five beliefs to close out. Okay. You can borrow these beliefs until you believe them, just to close out. Okay. But I really just want to make sure if you don't know what role you want to go into, there are options. Again, I go over that in my course, and then I do have resources that are on my podcast, my quiz. If you're scared to leave, I have episodes about, like, just scroll my podcast. A lot of my podcast episodes stem from people asking me questions. So I genuinely am dedicated to this. This is my service. My podcast is my service. I don't get paid to do this. I'm giving you all the tips I wish I had. Failure only happens if you stop applying for jobs. Failure only happens when you give up. Okay. And if you fail at certain things, that's just going to be the area that you need the most support in. Okay. I have had clients who have literally tried everything on their own. They're like, I tried everything. It still didn't work. And then they get results with me quickly. Okay. And then they get an interview and some of them still fall down and they get back up. Okay. My clients don't get every single job, but the ones who do the work do it. But if you're afraid of failing, that's okay. That is okay. That is all right. It's okay to be afraid. We're gonna drive the car scared. We're gonna drive the car scared. Okay. Um, but yeah, doubt doesn't mean stop. It means just ask better questions. Ask questions. Again, you're gonna be able to ask all the questions. Y'all can come on my live, ask me questions. And then in the course, you're gonna really be able to ask me questions on Zoom. But five beliefs I want to close out with. So, number one, I want you to believe there is a solution for me. If you can, repeat it out loud to yourself so your body can hear it and feel it. There is a solution for me. Even if I don't believe it or see it right now, there is a solution for me. Okay. Another one is I don't need to know everything. I just need the next step. I don't need to know everything. I just need the next step. I know teachers, the high achievers, they're overwhelmed. They get overwhelmed because they need to know this. You just need your next step. Okay. And the last, I'll just say, I am capable of building a plan that changes my life for the better. I am capable of building a plan that changes my life for the better. Whenever there's overwhelm happening, there's some part of you that feels that you are not capable. And I want you to believe that you are capable of building a plan that's going to change your life. You are capable of doing this. No matter how long it takes, you are capable of doing it. Okay? All right, y'all. That was this podcast episode. I hope you all enjoyed. Again, if you would like to have a step by step plan, make sure you are enrolled in the Exit Plan course that is now available. And yeah, I hope y'all learned. I really do hope y'all learned, and you'll take this lesson and listen to it as many times as you need to know that there is a solution to your problems. And your teaching experience is not a limitation. It is absolutely a superpower. A superpower. All right. I will see you all next time. Bye.